Hayao Miyazaki does not want you to know anything about his upcoming film. Hey everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and let's talk about something that is kind of unique. So, Hayao Miyazaki needs no introduction. This man is a legend. He has directed some of the greatest movies of all time. He has directed My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, The Wind Rises, Castle in the Sky, Kiki's Delivery Service, on and on. His films are, I'm going to say, not since Akira Kurosawa has a director's filmography been so immaculate and exceptional. His films are just amazing. And another thing about Miyazaki is that he has threatened to retire pretty much every year that he has made and released a film. He was going to retire after Princess Mononoke, then he was going to retire after Spirited Away. I don't think he announced he was going to retire after Howl's Moving Castle or Ponyo, but he did announce he was going to retire after The Wind Rises, and this time he was quite serious. And yet he continued to go on making short films, and he decided he was going to make at least one more movie. And I would not be surprised if he makes one more swan song after that. Basically, this guy is going to work until he dies. And I mean, personally, I'm happy because it means more Miyazaki movies. I also know that's probably rough on his family, but, them's the breaks. But here's the thing. In the past, Studio Ghibli has been very careful with how they market Miyazaki films. They have always been very minimalistic. They tend to focus on one unique aspect. Sometimes they're even hiding what the film is actually about. I remember the poster, or at least the Japanese poster for Princess Mononoke, which had trees and spirits, but really didn't suggest that this was going to be an action film. So Studio Ghibli definitely markets their films in the most unique way. Well, they have taken it a step further with Miyazaki's next film. There's going to be no preview. There's going to be no commercial. There's not going to be any screenshots. All there is this poster. This is it. This is all of the marketing we are getting for the next Miyazaki film. And Ghibli's producer basically explained that, they've been trying new advertising methods for many years because Miyazaki likes to keep his films a secret. He wants you to experience them in the theaters for the first time, and they definitely worked on that. I mean, as the years went on, you saw less and less of the films, and it got to the point where the producers like, why do we need to make an advertisement at all? People know who Miyazaki is. It's not like they're not going to see the movie if they don't know exactly what it's about. Why do we have to make a commercial? We're paying people to sell something to someone that they would probably already see. And we just know that, people will turn out one way or the other regardless what this is about. So why don't we just make it a complete surprise? Let's just make this poster, therefore people are aware of the date, but otherwise we're really not going to do anything. And I find this to be extremely fascinating. Primarily because I would not be opposed if advertising for movies took a more aggressive approach like this. I have made it clear many times that I do not like watching trailers. I really don't. I think trailers rob movies of the best parts of the film. Trailers are also, by design, deceptive. I don't like when people say, oh, I want to see the movie because the trailer looks good. Well, of course the trailer looks good. They're trying to sell you a product. And unless you're doing a really bad job, like, say, with the trailers for The Little Mermaid, which made the movie look far worse than it was actually ended up being. Well, then yeah, of course the previews are going to look good. They're trying to sell you something. Now, I do not have this issue with teasers. Teasers are very different. Teasers literally tease the film, and I'm perfectly fine with being teased. It gives me a little taste of what it's about, and I can make a determination that way. But I don't like full-blown trailers where they're giving away key moments, spoiling the best jokes. And then in some cases, like with Marvel and Disney movies, for example, they make 2 to 3 minute trailers where it's like once you start watching all the trailers, it's like you've got a pretty good idea what the movie is, and at that point, seeing it almost feels like a formality. Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I'm wondering if maybe a less is more approach should not be considered in the future, especially if this particular movie does very well. Now, it should be noted, this is a Japanese film, so this unique marketing aspect is being tried out in Japan. It almost certainly won't be tried in America. And some people might be watching this, it's like, well, you know that you are basically calling for the elimination of a lot of marketers' jobs, a lot of advertising people. They don't make the $20 million per movie that like Tom Cruise does. Is this not a little selfish? And here's the thing, I get it. I totally get what you're coming from. I don't want to completely eliminate marketing. It does have a place, obviously. And truth be told, this whole poster idea is an extreme thing. I think Miyazaki is just such a proven success. Ghibli knows that they can basically get away with doing nothing, and this movie is going to make a lot of money. But I wouldn't mind if studios, especially in America, start taking a less is more approach, especially since so many movies are IP driven anyway. Like, I remember when I saw the teaser for the 2019 Beauty and the Beast, and it was just the castle and the rose and Belle's eyes. And I was kind of like, that's a really effective ad. That teases at what's to come, and it's intriguing. I remember the full-length trailer, once we actually got to see what the objects looked like and everything, made me considerably less excited for the film because they were showing me too much at that point. I also remember the teaser trailer for How to Train Your Dragon 2. It was really simple, it was effective, but then they showed the full-length trailer and it shows like a lot of key twists that I would have been perfectly happy not knowing about. But by and far, I remember one of the most impactful teasers that I ever saw was for The Lady in the Water, the M. Night Shyamalan film. I remember this preview was playing. This was a midnight screening of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and it shows Paul Giamatti as the handyman walking around. There's some song playing. I remember the people in the audience were like just laughing, getting almost restless. He hears something from the pool. He goes over and it says The Lady in the Water, a fairy tale by M. Night Shyamalan, and everyone went, whoa. And keep in mind, M. Night Shyamalan had not yet released Lady in the Water or that R-rated movie he did and Last Airbender. He was, I think he had just come off of the Village. He was still a pretty big name. But that always stuck in my mind, like, because I remember, here's the thing. I don't remember what the follow-up trailer was, the full-length one, but I remember it was extremely underwhelming. The intrigue of the teaser was way more effective than seeing a trailer on what the movie was actually about, and I wouldn't be surprised if less people went to see it as a result of that trailer. So I'm kind of thinking maybe this is like a practice that needs to be imitated a little bit here. If you've got a popular IP character or you have a director whose name is just known, why even give this whole advertising spiel? Is Steven Spielberg not a big enough name? Like, could the Fablemans have gotten away with like the kid just editing a video? It's like, how should I put this? A story of dreams from Steven Spielberg, and that could have been the ad. What about the Mank trailer where it says a look at a Hollywood classic through the eyes of David Fincher. Something to that effect. I think a less is more ad might in some ways be better than a more is less ad. And again, I think what Ghibli is doing by just showing the poster for Miyazaki's next film is extremely brave. It's extremely confident, not only in the film, but in Miyazaki's ability to draw people in to the cinemas. But that said, I would not mind a less is more approach, especially if the movie is coming from a director who you know is going to make a lot of money. I know we've since gotten full-length trailers for Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan's new film, but can you imagine if the only advertisement had been the countdown clock, they press the button, and it says Oppenheimer? Can you imagine like something like that, and that's the only ad you see? What's it gonna be like? What's this? What's that? Like, people are now analyzing like, oh, some of the scenes are in black and white, some of them are in color. What's going on here? And it's like, I can imagine a very simple, very basic teaser being enough to sell that movie. Instead, we have a couple trailers that have a lot of information, and I still want to see it, but I feel like they didn't need to share that much. So anyway, I'm just very intrigued by this whole poster advertisement from Studio Ghibli. What do you all think, though? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think a less is more could work, or do you like getting 2 to 3 trailers for all of your Star Wars movies and things like that? I'd love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.